Hello, it's KW Geeks time once again. I am your host, Zach Shipley. This week, I have got my good friend, Kristen Carter. She's going to be geeking out about AI and other stuff that goes on with her business. Kristen, thank you very much for joining me.
I'm so excited to be here. This is awesome.
You and I have known each other for a few years now. I want to say we were TikTok mutuals first, and then you found me on the floor at Mega Camp, KW Mega Camp, like 2 years ago or something like that.
Yeah, I think we definitely met on social media first, and then it was one of those things where I saw you and I was like, "That's it!" And I probably ran up and like attacked you with a hug. So yeah,
it was before. What I remember it was before the show had opened. Like we were waiting at the gate for the rope drop or whatever to go to the expo ball, and then I bugged you at the KWYP booth thereafter.
Exactly. No, it's all good. I know. I feel like sometimes I kind of scare people because I'm just like this aggressive little person, just like running up to them to give them a big hug, whether they want it or not. It just happens.
Well, I certainly appreciate it. Thank you. So you've been. So let's dial back. Where'd you come from? Where do you want to start your story? We can go all the way back to the beginning, or like halfway, or yeah.
Let's start with where I live now. So I live in the Phoenix area. So we moved to Phoenix, Arizona about 15 years ago from California. We were one of those transplants who decided, let's try something new. And so we made our way this way. I've been in real estate for about it'll be 8 years next month. That's crazy. And prior to that, I've always been a geek and I've always been a tech nerd. But prior to real estate, I was a digital photographer and I did retouching and digital marketing for other businesses and other photographers. So there's always been a tech component to any business or any job that I do, just because that's where my brain goes.
Interesting. So you did photography.
I did.
Prior to this, when you're saying digital photography, you like when you say touch-ups, what kind of stuff are you photographing at that time?
So I personally was running a business where I was photographing families and events. And so I ran that business for about a decade. And I got really good at Photoshop. And so this was before AI tools. This was when you still had to hand select everything, do everything manually. There were some automations, but not a whole lot. And so photographers would come to me to remove crazy objects, like things that AI can do in seconds. I would spend hours doing for other photographers. And so I would move DJ tables, I would remove people and smash groups together. If there was a divorce or something happened, we would go through and do that. Head swaps were a big one, making sure people weren't blinking. And now a lot of it's done with AI tools or at least AI support. And so, so that business wouldn't be around anymore.
I'm suddenly starting to see why you're so fascinated by AI when you consider that it could like do your entire job that you had 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And also I can also be I know how it feels to be like, hey, not only does that I don't have that job anymore, that job doesn't exist anymore, because the list of places I worked before I got into real estate is long and it's a graveyard. I don't think I've ever talked about this on the podcast. So let's go over it real quickly. Blockbuster Video don't exist anymore. I worked at a record store. Some record stores still exist, but that particular one's gone. Assistant manager at Radio Shack for 3 years.
Oh my God.
So don't work there. Time Warner Cable, man, nobody even subscribes to cable anymore.
Your resume sounds a lot like mine. Hollywood Video, not Blockbuster, but Hollywood Video, gone first. Phone book sales. I sold ads for the phone book.
I did that for that
was a job.
I did that for 1 quarter, 3 months.
Yeah. It was about 6 months, and I was like, I can see the writing on the wall. This is on its way out. I'm done. So similar. And then I worked in radio. And a lot of the radio stations that used to be small mom and pop owned radio stations, they're all owned by corporations now and smushed together. So, the station I worked for still exists. It's just in a different form now.
I feel like there are some recurring things as I talk to people and through this podcast and learning more about the stories of just jobs that pop up for almost everybody, at least in a certain direction. So you're in good company there.
It's so funny how that happens.
So you find yourself in real estate. Did you get into real estate when you moved before or after you moved to Phoenix?
I brought my photography business with me to Phoenix. And then because of that, I got super involved in my community and my kids' school. And in doing so, I actually met this realtor who was she was just amazing. She ran her business with relationships, which was the same way I ran my photography business. Our kids were about the same age. Like we just got along really well. And so when my photography business was doing good, but I wanted to step it up, I had two choices. I could either open a studio or shoot weddings. And both of those sounded pretty awful. Like I really just didn't want to do either of those. And so I was like, okay, what else can I do? What's another industry that still gives me the flexibility of owning my own business, but I can do with other people, and like it still gives me the challenges. And so real estate came up. And so I took Melanie out to tea. We went to Starbucks and I sat down with her and I just said, hey, I've got this crazy idea. I'm thinking about getting my real estate license. Like, how nuts is that? And she said, well, actually, I just moved over to Keller Williams and they encourage building a team. And I'm thinking about getting a buyer's agent. Why don't you go through the schooling process and then we'll talk after. 6 weeks later, I had my license and I joined her team. And so I've been on her team since. Spent my first 6.5 years as the buyer's agent and then transitioned over to full agent about a year and a half ago. And so now buyers and listings, and it's amazing. Like it's great. I still love it.
That's really cool that not only did you you met Melanie through, through your community, and then she's kind of ushered you in. I feel like there's a lot of people who, and there's no judgment here. It's for myself as well. Like the first couple of years are like, I tried this. No, I'll try that. It's like, no, you actually a pretty consistent career path when you got into real estate.
Yeah, that was my whole thing. I was like, well, I've got a great mentor. She's got a great system. Like, why would I go and reinvent something when this is amazing and it works? And we've built the team. We now have there's 3 licensed agents and 2 admins. We were voted best of Gilbert for best team. Melanie's gotten best agent for the last 5 years. Like we're happy. We're in a good place. So yeah, I rock the boat.
Yeah, that's seriously great. So obviously you're the Phoenix connection. If I need to refer somebody, if I'm going down there, et cetera, like you're the first call we make. But again, like this is we're in the KW Geeks podcast. Let's talk about your geek fascinations first. So you said before we started recording, you mentioned playing D&D with somebody over a video call, Zoom or something.
Yeah.
So how often do you do stuff like that?
So we play D&D weekly. We've been playing since January, which is absolutely crazy to have 8 months of pretty consistent playing. And so yeah, we're loving it. We have an awesome DM. Like our crew is fantastic. Our party is a bunch of other geeks, most of them in real estate. And so yeah, we're having a really fun time with it. My character is this chaotic fox tabaxi rogue. And so she's just this like ADHD filled crazy fox who like cartwheels through the forest and like shoots off arrows, and I could just pretty much play her as just this ball of energy, and I have a blast with it. Like my main goal is like, how can I make my DM big sigh like every session, like just make him go what, like that's the goal.
That's awesome. So you're playing D&D. What are the other like geek fascinations? What else do you geek out on?
So tech is my big one, obviously, but my family's big into Marvel and superheroes. My husband and I are totally into 80s movies and like all of the cult classics. We play Lego like regularly as a family. Like we have Lego everywhere throughout our house. Oh my gosh, what else are we geeks? Star Wars, little bit of everything. Like, yeah, if there's a fandom for it, we're kind of in there. So yeah, it's a good thing.
So one of the things you said was technology. So let's talk a little bit about that, or a lot about that as the case may be, because it's what I'll be transparent here for both you and the audience watching here. So I'm talking to KWRI about like legitimizing KW Geeks as a thing. And one of the things they said to me is it's like, we'd really like to see you do more educational opportunities. And we think there's a lack of involvement with or knowledge around tech and AI and things like that. It's like, well, and like I was talking with you like the same day about something AI related. I was like, well, okay, we'll just do that then.
We'll just do that. We'll just talk AI. Like, let's do
talk
that.
AI. So,
Yeah.
so this is my olive branch to the KW community at large, not just the RI, but also everyone, because I know this is a passion of yours. It feels like there's been a whirlwind, like the last 18 months, 2 years or whatever. It's like something I'd never really heard of or anybody talk about. It was AI bots and chat GPT and these large language models. It's like it went from something that no one talked about to suddenly this is going to change everything. Everybody needs to get in on this. You have to start using it. You have to this. So at what point do you decide you're jumping on this boat as well?
It was really shortly after ChatGPT was released, actually. So like I wasn't one of the beta testers, but when it went live, I think I got access within maybe a couple weeks of it being live to everybody. I joined the waiting list almost immediately and got access. And so, yeah, so I've been playing with it for about 2.5 years now. And like you said, like it's been interesting to watch people go from like, what are you talking about, to kind of just messing around with it, to then actually using it in like full adoption mode. But people are slow to adopt, like as a whole. I obviously saw like individuals jumping in and like doing really cool stuff, but like the actual wave, I feel like didn't happen until this year. Like it was probably January, February that I saw where people were finally headed with it, in like the adoption of it. So yeah, but yeah, I started talking about it. I started learning about it. And then I started teaching other agents because like you said, nobody heard of it. And they were like, well, what do we do? How do we talk to it? And so really that's kind of what I've been doing for the last 2 years, is talking to market centers and teaching agents and just walking people through like, how the hell do you talk to it? And how do we do it responsibly? Like, I mean, I don't know how you feel about the ethics of AI. Like we could totally go down that rabbit hole. But like I'm trying to teach people, use it for business, use it the way you're supposed to. Don't go and like ask it how many R's are in strawberry. Like that's a waste of a token. That's a waste of energy. That's a waste of water. Like, don't do dumb stuff. Use it for good things.
That and yeah, I think the ethical and implications of it are definitely there. I have my own. I kind of I come back and forth on how I feel about AI, because in some instances when I'm using, I'm like, oh, this is amazing. This is saving me so much time to do this. And in other instances, I go like, well, this stupid bot doesn't know anything. And I'll drop that quote. Michael Bay, notoriously like over the top personality.
Yes.
But also like as a person, but also as a movie director, all his movies are just everything's moving and exploding all the time. And whether you love him or hate him, you can't say that he's not very consistent with his work. Like that, like all of his movies fit that tone. Absolutely. So if you like one, you probably like all of them. He dropped this quote maybe like a year and a half, 2 years ago, where he said about AI, he said it doesn't create, it just imitates, and we'll create a whole bunch of lazy people. So to all original creators out there, have no fear. And that struck me as saying like, yeah, there's nothing to worry about for AI, because it's not going to replace creative people. It's not going to replace creativity, but I do feel like it's a helpful tool for the things that don't require my creativity, that I want to put too much creativity into.
Right.
And I'll give an example. Like this morning, I made an Instagram post. I put a lot of work into the video that I made, and so all my creative juice was there. But I need to have the caption to go under it. The caption needs to go on TikTok. The caption needs to go on YouTube. Like it's one video that I put multiple different places, and I don't want to put the creativity into that. I don't want to sit there thinking for 20 minutes about like what's the best 2 sentences to put into this. I just need to post it, and it can't have nothing under that, because I need some SEO guidance. You know, we need it to show up in search. We need to show up in the people's algorithms. And so that's where I use chat. I said, like, this is what my video is about. Write me a caption that's in my voice that can go under there. And then that was the caption I put on when I uploaded it.
I love it. Well, and not only that, but like maybe you're really good at Instagram. Like maybe you just have that flow for Instagram and you're like, oh, I know what caption will get my Instagram audience engaged. I know how to do this. But now you're also doing YouTube. And you're like, okay, but the caption that I use on Instagram might not be the best caption for my YouTube. So, hey, chat, can you edit this to fit for YouTube? Like,
Yeah.
it's an easy edit. It's a quick twist that now I don't have to think about it. And I know that it's going to be done right. And like you said, I've put all my energy into the rest of it and creating this original content that, yeah, I can have it edit for me. Like, that's not a big deal. Yeah.
To go back to the movie example, the director makes the movie, and the director, producer, actors, etc. They make the movie. They don't make the trailer. A marketing company does. So
Right.
I think about it, it's like okay, so I put all my energy into the post, and then like, why should I be the same person who's making the text at the bottom?
Right.
Or even the title.
Exactly.
The title of the video is another thing. It's like, that's another thing that needs to be optimized for SEO. And when you're putting it on YouTube specifically, you need to not just have a good video, but you need to have a good title, because you have to think backwards about how people search and how stuff shows up on YouTube. People do look to YouTube for advice on stuff all the time.
Absolutely.
And so like, so having a post that like either answers a question or asks a question at the top, so it shows up in the search, that's how you're going to get people to watch it.
I saw a thing that said that the biggest growing demographic on YouTube is actually the over 55. And that trying to talk to that audience specifically will actually grow your views. So for anybody who works with, like, I mean, especially my area where we've got all the snowbirds coming and retiring to Arizona, like, creating content for them specifically on YouTube is amazing. And then you can take an AI tool like Opus Clip, and you can sit and cut it all down, which I imagine you're probably going to do with this podcast as well. It's one of the coolest.
We're watching this on Opus Clip right now.
Exactly, like our tiny little heads. Exactly. But that's one of the easiest things, and that's an AI tool. And that's the thing that people are like so anti. A lot of people are so anti-AI, but they're anti-LLM, not realizing that there's a bunch of AI tools built into all the other things we do. We've had AI in our phones for a long time. I mean, people forget that when you go to get in your car and you plug your phone in and it says, hey, do you want to go to the office? That's an AI algorithm looking at your patterns and then suggesting what you do next. And all our phones have had that too, where if you just open your phone, it's like, hey, usually at this time you check your emails, it'll pop up your emails for you. And you don't even realize that it's doing it. Like, the algorithm's just following you and helping you through your day, and you don't realize it. Where these large language models, you actually have to talk to them to tell them what you want and show them the patterns. And then they'll work for you too. And so it's just really interesting for people to learn how to talk to it more than anything else.
I think one of the fun things about large language models is not so much that it talks to you more naturally, is that I can talk to it more naturally.
Yes.
When, I've had a Google Assistant in my home for like 5+ years. Hey Google, turn off the lights. If you use Google at home, it'd probably turn off your lights. So with like, I give it those simple instructions. Always like, I've turned off the lights. So I give it these simple instructions, and I tell it to do certain things, and it knows to do them. But it's always very simple instructions. I think about how people talk to the computer on Star Trek, and yet we want to find that we're not just talking in a computer voice to a computer. It's a lot easier for us to say things the way we normally say them, or even ask more nuanced questions. When you ask about the weather, you ask it's like, I might just say like, what's the weather? But really I don't really want to know what the weather is. My question is, do I need a jacket?
Right.
So I need to know, so when I'm asking, so why not just ask that question? Do I need a jacket? Because it'll be like, hey, it's going to be colder, or it's going to be rainy today. You should grab a jacket. Whereas previously I've just been in the habit of saying, what's the weather? And it'll be like, it's 75. I'm like, is it going to rain? It's like,
right.
It's like,
what else is the weather? Not just the temperature.
What else is going on?
Yeah. Unlike here where it's like, oh, it's 80 and sunny. Go outside. I don't need a jacket.
Well, for you, maybe the question is like, what's the air quality? What's the traffic
Oh
like?
yeah.
Phoenix is a huge area, so you're probably asking the traffic question more often than I do.
Yep. Yeah, that is a typical question I am asking a lot of, like, which direction do I need to go to avoid which freeway today? Yeah.
Milwaukee's a pretty big city. I mean, it's more than 1 million people in the metro area, but also like whenever there's traffic, it's like, oh, it's going to take me 20 minutes to get there instead of 15. Oh, there's a baseball game right now. I guess I'll just drive around the stadium instead of down that road. There's just nothing happening.
Yeah. Yeah. There's always something happening here. And there's always road construction. So like anytime you go on the freeway, you're like, am I going to get to go on the freeway, or is it going to be closed because they're doing stuff? It's a gamble. We never know. So yeah. But yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm always checking with my phone. I'm always checking with my Alexa. We just upgraded our Amazon Alexas to the new AI features. It's powered by Claude, and well, it's not great. It's getting there, but it's not great. So, but like you said, you have to talk to it naturally. And we were laughing because it didn't quite understand some of the things we were saying, and so it just kind of went off the rails. And so my husband asked for an abridged version of the Three Little Pigs. It thought that he asked for a bridge version of the Three Little Pigs. And so it told us this whole story about the Three Little Pigs building bridges and what happened to them.
Weird. Like, I don't even, it's, I had this revelation a week or so ago that like AI is like a 12-year-old.
Yes.
It's like a very verbose 12-year-old. It will do exactly what you say, but you got to tell it what to do. It's not going to do it on its own.
Yep. Yeah. I tell people, think of it like your dumbest smart assistant. Like you have a brilliant assistant who knows everything, but has zero common sense. Like they don't know the next steps. They don't know what you want, and they don't know what's in your brain. So like if you're going to talk to your large language model, like you need to give it some context. Like it knows everything, so you need to narrow it down. And so, yeah, so whenever I'm telling people to talk to their large language models, I've noticed that most of the time when people prompt it, their prompts aren't great. And so they're prompting too wide, and they're prompting too vague. And so when they get specific and they figure out what they want, then they get a much better output out of it. And I actually think that's part of the problem too, is that not everybody knows what they want to come out of it. Like you and I are pretty good at like, hey, this is what I want it to do for me, and I know it's going to do it. But other people are like, well, let's just see what comes out of it if I put this prompt in, and maybe it'll be what I want. So having a really clear picture of like what you want is probably the best thing I can tell people to do with AI.
And so let's bring some clarity here. Let's talk to the realtor who hasn't been using it at all. Okay. There's some stuff on here. Like I know a lot of people will use it to like write listing descriptions.
That's the gateway.
That's the gateway. People get started writing listing descriptions. So let's pretend there's a realtor who already knows that or is doing that already. But what is the next thing that they could probably start leveraging AI, and what model or website would you direct them to start with?
So other things that they can do besides listing descriptions, kind of in the same vein though, anything that's like a copywriting thing, anything that requires you to write text. A lot of agents just aren't great at it. I would say most agents don't have a college degree. They're not English majors. So writing is not really like what we do. So I tell people, go through your systems and your models and template everything you can. So if you have emails that go out to your buyers after your buyer consultation, template it, make it the same email that goes out that you can just tweak to fit that person and edit for personality, but you're not editing for content every single time. You're not having to recreate the wheel with every single email that you write. So you should have templated emails for everything in your transactions. So that's after your first consultation, that's after your first showing, that's after you get under contract, whatever those steps look like, those should all be templates. And using a large language model to help you do that makes it so much easier and so much less of a time suck, that you can just get it done, put it in a Google Doc, you know where it is, and then you can copy and paste as needed. And then if you want to take it one step further, if you use Gmail, you can actually go in and create templates within Gmail and call them what they are, and then just pull them up real quick. You don't even have to copy paste. So
I do that a lot. Yeah.
yeah, it's a huge, I mean, we don't realize it because we're like, oh, it's 2 minutes here, it's 2 minutes there. But if you're working with 50 clients for the year and you're talking 2 to 3 minutes at every single step of the process, that's a lot of time at the end of the year that you could get back just by having this set up for your business.
When I'm sending the templated email to a new buyer, somebody I'm about to meet with or just met with or something, where it has like, here's the link to go to the MLS search, here's the link to go this, here's the best way to reach me, or here's our buyer's guide, all the stuff we put a ton of work into. I want to make sure they have access to all of it. I'm basically dropping that template, and the only thing I'm filling in is their name and maybe like the date that we're meeting, if that's the. It's like, so I look forward to meeting you on Saturday at 3. It's like whatever it is.
Exactly. Yeah. And I mean, and peppering in some personality, or maybe they've got a couple questions that you went and dug a little bit deeper on, whatever. But at least like that bulk of that email is done for you. So I would say that's probably step 2. So listing descriptions, email templates. We've already talked about it though. Social media is a big one too. There's a lot of agents who are still afraid to do social media, even though it's been around for 20 plus years. And they're worried about how they sound on camera and how they look on camera, and they just don't post anything. And so I would encourage them to go through and utilize large language models to help them like talk to that ideal client. Like who are you talking to? Who is your favorite client that you've ever worked with that you'd love to work with again? And how can you create content for that person? Because if you can create content for that person, you're going to be happy to create it because you enjoy it, and they're going to be happy to receive it, and they're going to want to work with you. And so I always tell people like Chat and Claude and Gemini, they're fantastic for working through that exercise with you, helping you narrow that down and helping you find that message to really connect with that person or that type of client, whatever.
Yeah, the client avatar thing is something I've heard from so many other people saying, like, think about who this person is that you want to work with. Who's your ideal person? Is it the first-time home buyer? Is it the retiring, downsizing couple? Is it the young family moving up? And it may be all of these things. I mean, I've worked with all of those clients this year. But to say like that you want to tailor all of your marketing towards that, sometimes it doesn't always come natural. Maybe the move up client comes natural to me because I'm kind of in that same like point of life.
Right, you're in that point of life.
But the first time home buyer, a lot of them they're 25 to 30-year-old kids. I'm 45. I'm a generation above them. So I don't want to act like Steve Buscemi. How you doing, fellow kids? But at the same time, so I've kind of, so my adoption on here, the voice I've tried to like tell my AI to do or whatever, like it's like come through. It's like the caring dad or the caring uncle or whatever. It's like I realize like, okay, dad energy is
I love that so much.
That's what they need. I don't actually have to be their dad or their or even that much older than them. But I realize a lot, especially with the first time home buyer, like they just need somebody to tell them it's going to be okay and encourage them. As frustrating as it might be.
Honestly, yeah. I love that concept of like, you're their guidance, but here's the twist on it. Like, I'm their guidance from a friendly, warm place. Like, you are that like kooky uncle who's going to give them all the guidance they need, but also keep it fun through the process. And then reassure them when they lose their minds, because it always happens with every buyer, actually, not just first time buyers. Like there's a point in the contract where everyone just kind of goes, ugh. So but you can like walk them through that and tell them, hey, it's normal. I love that adopting of that voice for you and telling that to your AI as like, again, that context where you're like, hey, here's the tone I want you to have. Here's the voice I want you to talk with. Because this is who I am and what I do.
And AI, I'm not using it to write jokes, but I do get to like prompt me. It's like, do we need a pun? Do we need a bad dad joke here? And so it will help me through that stuff. More often than not, it's not giving me the joke that I actually copy paste into the post. What it's doing is it's giving me something for me to build off of.
Right.
Because again, I took like 2 years of improv classes.
Yeah.
And so I go like, okay, that's a good start. I'll build off that, and boom. It's like, so all it's doing is it's giving me the prompt. I'm prompting it, and it's prompting me back.
You're very much doing a yes and exercise with your chat.
Exactly. So taking the suggestion, go like, okay, how can I build on that? How can I make it better and even more in my voice? Because again, the AI is like a 12-year-old. It's like there's some things it's going to be super good at, and there's some stuff that it's just not going to be able to comprehend. The more complex they get, until such time as it gets better at that. But the only way you can figure out whether it's getting better at that is if you keep asking it.
Yeah. Or train it yourself. I mean, that's the coolest part about, like, if you're utilizing like Google Notebook LM. I love that I can upload my own things to it. You can put up to 50 uploads into Google Notebook, and then you can just interact with that. And like, you don't necessarily have to even touch the breadth of its knowledge if you're just interacting with your own sources. I just find it's a really good way to just dive deeper within things that I always like to read as it is. And then be able to like analyze and ask questions and compare and contrast, and like essentially teach it as, or treat it as like a thinking exercise. It's really fun for market reports. Like, I use Google Notebook all the time for that.
When you get the market report from your local MLS on like, oh, here's the new averages, here's all the stats. It can take a long time to thumb through all that stuff. But if you upload all those documents to Notebook LM, you can then you can ask simple questions saying like, hey, what's the zip code or the suburb with like the highest appreciation? What's the one that has like what's the lowest amount of volume here? Like, what are the tougher markets? What are the ones where it's wide open and there's lots of listings available? The easiest ones to get in, and you can get those you can ask those plain language questions, plain English questions to the model, and it can get a good answer. It's not like just asking an expert.
Right. Well, I mean, and it's one of those things. It's like you truly have an economist in your pocket at that point. You're like, okay, hey, what does this mean for my clients? What does this mean for my sellers? What does this mean for me in the industry? Like, you can ask all of those things, and you can also, not necessarily come up with predictions, because we don't know what's going to happen, but you can look at what has happened historically and where we're at now, and then be able to help clients to make their decisions. And provide them with the information so that they can make the right decision for their family. Because at the end of the day, that's really what our jobs are, is we're here to guide people and help them figure out like, okay, what is my next best step? And so having that information and having the ability to turn it to plain English from economist speak is really nice. And it means that you can also like ask specific questions too, of like, hey, here's what my seller situation is. Like, keep it vague so you're not putting personal information in, but you could ask and interact with the AI regarding a specific situation and current market conditions. So I really like doing that too, and kind of like challenging to figure out like, okay, is this the best next move, or is there something better that they could be doing?
Excellent. Yeah. So another thing that I've found myself doing, and maybe, I don't know if you've tried this or not, I think we talked about once before, is I will take our listing presentation, our seller guidebook, and I'll get like the one sheet from MLS for like maybe this property from when it expired last time. And I will feed that into Notebook or chat and say, here's a house that expired. I want to go on a listing appointment to get this listing. Draw me up like a 2-page market plan that I can use to wow this seller. And it has worked. It like literally worked this year. It was an amazing thing to do. And so I'm doing it for even like my slam dunk. Like, of course they're going to list with me. It's my friend type listing.
Right.
Like,
even though it's your friend, you still want to knock their socks off.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So like I gave it like a difficult task first, and a lot of times it's doing things that like, well, of course I do that. It'll do like the thing about professional photos or this or that or the other. And I realized like, if nothing else, what it's doing is it's giving me like a customized sheet reminding me of all the stuff I do every single time, because I don't give myself enough credit when I'm on these appointments that like, oh yeah, I do this every single time too. Yeah,
Yeah.
of course I have the sign in the art. Of course I have like a dedicated website. Of course I have a a phone number that someone can call at any time. There's a QR code that they can scan for information. There's all this stuff that I do every single time, but it would blow someone else away because not every other realtor does that. So if I'm in competition and this other realtor doesn't do it and I do it, or at least that I say I do it, then of course I'm going to get it.
Right. Well, and yeah, exactly to your point. Like we definitely forget a lot of what we do because we just do it every day and we don't think about it. And so, yeah, I was on an appointment this weekend and they were telling me how they had professional photos, but I looked at the listing and they've canceled. But the photos were they weren't great. And then when she told me that the photographer was only there for 15 minutes, I was like, well, that makes sense based on what I saw. And so we had a whole conversation about how our photographer works and what they do and what's included in that photography package. And it didn't dawn on me that other photographers that people work with do a subpar job. Because we've always worked with someone who's just so professional and so awesome that I forget sometimes to talk about how awesome it is and how great what they do is and why it benefits a client. And so, yeah, so that reminder is huge for us.
Yeah, I got an offer from another photographer. This maybe 2 years ago. Like, I'll shoot your next listing for free just to try us out. And like, I never took them up on it, not even for free. I'm very comfortable with the team we use now because it's really consistent. So, yeah.
Yeah, why change? Like what we have is great. And on that note, I mean, utilizing AI tools for digital staging. Like I've been seeing a lot of that happening in listings too, for better and worse. Like people have to be careful when they're using the digital staging that it doesn't change the fixtures of the house. Because I've noticed that some people they'll skimp out, they won't use a professional service and they'll just throw it through Gemini or chat or whatever. And they don't notice that it has changed the light fixture. It has changed the faucets. It has changed the hardware. Like there's all these little details in the back. Yeah, it added towels. Yeah, it added rugs. Yeah, it might have put a plant on the counter, but it also changed a lot of the things in that space to where a buyer's going to walk in and feel like it was a bait and switch. And so you have to be very careful about that you're not overutilizing AI tools when there's still other options available that are better.
Yeah, you really have to check your work.
Yeah.
AI will confidently lie.
Absolutely. Or the agents who do their listing descriptions and they don't remove the little extras. Like, guys, edit. If you're going to utilize AI tools, edit to make it seem like you not necessarily didn't use them, but at least you know what you're doing. Like, use it as the shortcut, not the easy button.
Just take out the M dashes. Come on.
Take out the M dashes, take out the beginning, take out the end. That's all we're asking for.
It's real simple.
Yeah.
What are some things that we're not doing yet, but you feel like are on the horizon for realtors and AI? Because I think there's so many people who are just talking about, like, tech bigwigs, talking about how this is the future. It's going to take all this work off from us, but it's hard for me to think about what else it could take off my plate.
I've been seeing some automation being tested. So when like clients or potential clients are looking online for houses and then they say, "Oh, contact me," and they click it, and it's a chat box and it just pops up and it acts like it's a real person. It acts like it's either an agent or an agent's assistant. But it's fully AI and it's having a conversation with them about either the process or a specific house or whatever it is. And then at some point, a human needs to get into the loop. And so at some point, it goes from being the chat box to being the actual human being. And so usually that's around the time where like they're ready to set an appointment, they want to schedule a showing, whatever that step is, that they don't just need the information anymore. Now they need a connection. And then that's when a human steps in. So I do see some of that coming down the horizon. I also see that a lot of people don't want that. A lot of people don't want to talk to a bot. They want to talk to a human being. This is one of the largest purchases or largest transactions of their life, and they don't want to rely on a robot to do it. They want a human being to guide them through from step 1 to step 37. And so I think we're going to see a little bit of that over the next year is that push pull of like, how much is too much? And there will be agents who fully lean into it and they're successful. And there will be agents who fully lean into it and they're not, because their client base just doesn't want that. And so I think it's going to be a matter of agents really finding that balance and listening to their audience. Who do you work with, and are they going to embrace it or are they going to deny it? And so I think that's going to be a fun push pull for agents over the next little bit, is figuring out like, what can we do and what is too much. But automation is going to be the next big thing. It was large language models. Now we're moving into agentic AI, which basically lets it run in the background or do tasks for you with just some simple directions. And so automation has been there for a long time. You've been able to connect all of these apps, but they've required you to be techie. They've required you to know the apps. They've required you to pay for the extra subscriptions in order to do all of these things. And now with the large language model, they're removing barriers. And so now it's going to be like, hey, go into my email, find all my junk emails and delete them. Mm-hmm. It's going to be talking to it like we just said, like it's a virtual assistant. Like, instead of talking to it like a robot, we're going to talk to it like a person. And it's going to understand that. So but that automation of like, hey, schedule me an Uber for a ride to the airport, get me reservations at this restaurant, go through my emails, reply to these emails. Like, we're going to be able to do all of those things with just simple commands.
Yeah. The only job I can see, like, it's easy for me to see me replace is, or at least like really offloading in a major way is like a TC role. Because like a transaction coordinator, I think one of the big things that they're doing is, like, especially when they first get contract, just like go through it, like, okay, what are the other important dates? What do we have to do first? So like that first step, maybe not the rest of it, but even just like the first step for them to automate that whole thing. And so even for an agent who doesn't have a TC, if they could figure out a way to like leverage that when they get the accepted offer, to go like, okay, here's the contract, send my client an email reminding them all the important deadlines, tell them this is where the deposit goes, this is where the earnest money goes, this is the title company's contact information. To have all that stuff like off the bat, would be like that'd be a really good piece of first leverage for somebody even paying, like, for like the premium version of chat or whatever. It's still going to be far less than hiring somebody.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. That's exactly it. My only worry with doing that is that I feel like agents are not super tech savvy, especially when it comes to data safety. And I've seen agents do things with data they probably shouldn't, and that includes uploading contracts to places they shouldn't put it. Mm-hmm. And so that's my only concern with them using it as a TC, is that if it's not a secure form of AI that they're using, they're now putting that information out to whatever company is collecting that data. And so that's a concern that I have, because I've seen what agents do on social media. I can only imagine what they're doing with AI.
So you bring up an interesting point, something I hadn't thought about. So obviously, like, the contracts are confidential, and so is it wrong or bad to upload them to, what's secure AI and what's not?
And then that's exactly it. And we're at that point right now where we have so many AI things being thrown at us that people are willing to test them and treat them almost like just test things. And they're not really thinking through of like, where am I putting this data? So like DocuSign, we know DocuSign is a safe place to put our documents. Like, we've used it for years. It's been in our systems. They have AI tools. So I always tell people, I'm like, utilize the systems that you already use and then see what those extra tools are that they have. It might mean an upgrade. Maybe you need to upgrade your subscription, but there's a lot of tools built into things we already use that people aren't utilizing. And so like DocuSign just came out with a whole bunch of AI stuff. Canva came out with a whole bunch of AI stuff. Canva still isn't great, but it's there and we know the safety of it. And so those are the things where I tell people, I'm like, yeah, you can utilize OpenAI if you want to utilize it. They have a pretty good safety rating. Their privacy policy is great. I don't know for sure that they're not training their model on our data. That's still murky for most of the things that they've said. Some say no, some say yes. So I personally am not putting contracts into my large language models, just because I don't want that data being out there. I don't want it to accidentally get leaked. There's been stories of like Google Gems. They just released those and they had a big security issue in that if somebody sent a gem to someone else, the entire training module behind it also went with it. So whatever that original prompt was, whatever data they put into it, if they sent that link out to somebody, they had access to all of it. And that's a pretty big gap. And then same thing with OpenAI. When OpenAI was allowing, when you could share your ChatGPT links, OpenAI didn't realize those were searchable. People found them on the internet, and they shouldn't have. Like that was a big security gap. And so that's why I tell people, I'm like, don't put compromising information, don't put confidential information into your large language models. Try to be as vague as possible. Try to, like, you can utilize an address because that's public information, but don't put your client's social security number. Don't put phone numbers into there. Don't put full names and addresses together into your large language models. Just use a little bit of safety and a little bit of common sense of like, if I wouldn't put this into Facebook, if I wouldn't put this into Google and share it online with everybody, I'm probably not going to put it into my large language model either.
Yeah, you bring up a really interesting point about security around this, and now it's coming into focus why Apple, as huge and as influential a company is, Apple is like kind of failing at the AI thing, because I know that one of their tenets is they want privacy, and I think they want to do everything on device, and your iPhone might be like the strongest computer in your household, but it's nothing compared to like, a data center that's the size of a football field.
Right.
And so like Gemini and OpenAI and all these other things can utilize these huge data centers. So of course they can crunch stuff, but like a phone's going to get real hot and it's going to take a half hour to analyze something, but it'll all be on device. And so yeah, I think the next step is really just to get like more on device type stuff, because that's going to give security. If it stays on your laptop, if it stays on your phone and doesn't get sent out somewhere else to be translated and sent back to you, then that's going to probably provide that kind of security you're talking about.
For sure. Yeah. And that's what a lot of developers are doing, is they're basically making their own servers. They're kind of using their tokens in ways that are really interesting, and trying to create safe spaces for that. Particularly, I mean, any of the ones that are being built specifically for real estate, that is one of the main things that they talk about, is your data is safe. We are not sharing it with the API, with the model that we're running. They're keeping it to themselves. And so I feel like agents just need to be aware of it. They need to be cognizant of those safety concerns. And then it sounds so silly, and especially talking to geeks and tech people, but two-factor authentication, like, have it set up on everything. If you don't know how, ask your techie friend. But like, if you can have two-factor authentication for as many of your apps as possible, your stuff is going to be more secure. Because I have seen people lose their entire ChatGPT history when they got hacked. It's happened. And there's scammers out there. There's people out there that's literally what they try to do all day long, is just break into people's accounts.
Well, we have really talked quite a long time about this. I didn't realize we're now approaching that, like the overtime era. Yep. And I feel like we could talk for like another hour if we really wanted to. But I want to be respectful of your time as well as our watchers and listeners. Kristen, it's clear we're going to have you back when the next drop of the next AI thing.
Next big update, I'll be back.
Yeah. So in the meantime, how can people find you? Where should they look for you?
Right now, the easiest place to find me is on Instagram and Facebook. I'm at Kristen Carter AZ. Super easy to find me that way. I'm in the process of creating a new AI Facebook group just for real estate agents. So I'll let you know when that drops, so that way you can share it too. But yeah, at Kristen Carter AZ is the easiest way to find me.
And I know you've got like an Instagram account just for like
I-
AI type stuff that you just started
I
too.
do. Right? Yeah. It's at AI for Real Estate Pros. So you can put the link wherever.
Okay, we'll put a link in there so people can get notified when you drop the next big thing, because obviously, like, we're just introducing a lot of folks to this right now, but you're going to be helping them to maybe deep dive, and you're for hire as well, if I recall.
Absolutely. Yep. I am happy to go and talk to market centers, teams, or individual agents, and help them get off the ground and running with it.
Okay, awesome. Kristen, thank you so much for joining us, and hopefully you're able to utilize AI in ethical ways and also be able to do really good D&D campaigns with that.
Exactly. Create awesome D&D images with AI, because that's what we do.
All right, awesome. Thanks for joining us, and I'll stop here. I don't have a good close. It's like KW Geeks signing off. Make it so. I don't know. Sign off here.
You're gonna have to find one.